Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Whew, man, let's just do some recaps of this week and the energies of the week. What? Yeah, all the craziness. Um, Mercury's going to be moving into Virgo, thank goodness. I think there's a lot of combustible energy from this week. Really built things up and really had things going like crazy. So this week has been there's been a lot, and I think with especially when you have the external energies that are quite intense, and then we also have our own internal energies that are quite intense, makes it a little bit crazy in the energies as we are processing our life. I found this week to go a little slow. I don't know about you, but this week went a little like it's sort of like kind of dragged on. Like I don't know how to explain it. There was a speed up and then a drag, a speed up and a drag. That's how I felt this week was. So I'm not sure if anybody else felt it, but if you did, please comment below on how you were feeling about the energies this week. So, let's just look at some of the things, especially today. We have the moon has gone into Sagittarius. We have right now Mercury is in, at 29 degrees, but he's going to tip into Virgo later on today. And of course, Mars is still in Virgo. So we have this malefic. Mercury's can be a benefic or a malefic. That's what it can be. Now, when when we have Mercury coming into Virgo with Mars, that's going to be making, Mars, because he wants to join up and it's like bros coming together, it's like, hey man, how you doing? And he goes, yeah, hey, yeah, I heard you're like snuggling up to Venus. And he's like, yeah man, you want to get the down low on Venus and what's going on. So now we're going to find that there's going to be a lot of scrupulous uh, energies that are going to be coming up because the two boys are in the locker room, but they're in Virgo. That means that there's a sense of duty, a sense of service that has to be done as well. So there could be something where can we be of service, what can we do? So there could be, on the flip side, there could be this energy that comes in that really gets us to look at the things that we need to do as service with as the men, as the boys are coming together in the virtuous sign of Virgo. And plus Mercury rules Virgo, that's his home. So he's coming home and he's saying, hey, so there's this energy of Mercury coming home and letting people know that, what, let's take a look at what's going on here. So there's that's coming in as well. So Mercury's going to trigger. He's going to be this trigger of energy that's coming in. And this is going to be where you can, like, I've had horrible sleeps all week. This could be where you're going to continue, hey James, continue having horrible sleeps, where it could be that you can sleep for a good 4 hours and then wake up and then you're wide awake and you're probably like, oh, okay, what can I do? What should I do? Because your mind is really racing. So we got to pay attention to the dreams upon waking from dreams and the destinies, right? Because this is destiny of fate of what the path and transformations are coming in. So paying attention to what the dreams are. I had a crazy dream, my eldest son, and it was like something like my husband broke a lamp or something, a favorite lamp. And as he broke this lamp, he came and rushed and cleaned it all up so that I wouldn't know that it was broken or something. Then he went off surfing on this beautiful ocean. It was just crazy. So it's like, it's almost where, when I'm looking at it, it's like, what are we trying to clean up that we don't want to see? What are the messes that we're trying to clean up that we don't want to see? So that's part of this energy. It's like looking at what are the things that we're trying, and then just sort of sailing off as if nothing has happened. So looking at the things that are going on within your life that you are maybe wanting to cover up. Is there something there that you're trying to cover up that you don't want to pay attention to, or that something has happened between you and somebody else and that it's just like, whatever, it's just, not not taking that responsibility for it, right? So there's something there. So this is where, are you being the show the areas of life, this is are you showing the areas of life that need to die and and be reborn and or released completely, so that you can go on to the next chapter, so you can go on to writing something more. This is where you're going to be seeing the karmic patterns, that you are being shown and given an opportunity to truly deal with it, and deal with it for once and for all. So dreams are going to be telling you sort of things that maybe need to be dealt with. So maybe there's something, for me to be dealt with, seeing that, okay, with my eldest son, the energies, and knowing that in doing so, things are going, I could flip it on, things are going to work out. So this is where you need to look at within your own self, right? And Saturn, in Pisces, is doing this quincunx, to the sun in Leo, and this is where this energy with the sun, on Sunday, the mid 2 points, that will have the second of three Venuses in Leo's quincunxing Neptune in Pisces. So the weekend has a theme of tension between Leo and Pisces, and Leo is the sign of the sun, and it's connected to the ego, the authentic self-expression. So we got to watch where our ego goes and where the ego's leading us, because this is what we're finding a lot, and things are sort of popping up. And that's why I say, reflecting on sort of the news that was coming out this week, whether it has to do, and I know, whatever you think about Hunter Biden, things that are popping up, there's very much an egotistical energy there to what's ever going on with Trump, and to our PM Trudeau, what's going on with him shuffling everybody in his cabinet. So, pushing them all out after they've sucked his ass for so long. Now he's got new ass suckers. Maybe they just didn't do it right. I don't know, but just saying. So this energy is making a huge, of egos. We're seeing these ego flares, because where Leo has a big ego, right? As I always said, you never forget a Leo's birthday, right? Because they'll let you know it's their birthday, because it's the sun. Everything revolves around the sun. So what is that energy that's revolving around your ego? What's that energy that's revolving with your ego? In Kundalini Yoga, we do the ego buster, where our thumbs are our ego, and we put them into the palms of our hand, and we squeeze tight, and we do, different exercises, or, twists and stuff, to break up that energy of the ego that wants to lead, because we don't want the ego to lead. We want the heart to lead. And that's the other part of Leo, is the heart. So how are you allowing for your heart to lead in order for you to be healed? When we look into, we'll go back into the news area where, this is just, I just laugh when I'm thinking about this. Where's the PM allowing its heart to be led? No, it's not being led, right? It's all ego. When you see things like the court cases with Hunter Biden that happened, it's it's the heart. It's not the heart that's leading him, that's for damn sure. And then whatever happened on the weekend with the Obamas, which is quite interesting, because really Twitter is not letting that one go with the cook. But Obama's a Leo, and this happened just as it went retrograde in Leo. So Venus went retrograde in Leo. So what was, and what was the dynamics between him and stuff? That's just a theory. I don't know. This is going to be ongoing, and we will never ever know the full facts of what happened there. They'll all be smudged out and everything else. But it's interesting when you start to look at the astrology, and then the things that are taking place at this time, and how things are heightening, and what does that heightening mean? And even within our own life, what does that heightening mean within our own life, and how are we responding to it, right? So this is where, early tomorrow morning, the sun in Leo with that quincunx to Saturn, and on Sunday, with that midpoint. So this is where, the Pisces is the sign of Neptune, and it's connected to the transcendence of the small self and the union with the divine. How are we allowing that? This is allowing us to come into our authentic self-expression. With the sun, we want our self-expression. We want to be our true authentic self. Where is that part of the ego? Where is that part of ourselves that is not allowing ourselves to be that true authentic self? To be honest with ourselves, because maybe there's parts of it where, well, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want anybody to know I have those issues. Whatever it is, the list goes on. So we're seeing that, and it's being played out not only in front of us on the illusionary screen of the world, but it's playing off in our own illusionary world that we have created. So the best alignments right now are the energies is when the small self surrenders. Just allowing yourself to do the small things, allowing yourself to surrender to the small things within your own life. And it's a step-by-step process. It's like doing the big F, and the big F isn't fuck you, it's forgiveness, right? So learning to do that forgiveness within your own self. And it brings in the tenseness, this tense, like squeezing, ourselves. So this tense aspect of the shadow comes in. And these two can be when the ego is dominating and spiritual bypassing and are fusing with the spiritual ego, or when we are so checked out in the Neptune frequency that we have no boundaries, no sense of reality, and using things or people to escape. So this is where we can come in with so many excuses, oh yeah, I can do that, or whatever it is. Like I was listening to an old it was with Russell Brand, and he was talking about because his sexual addictions and how he goes, when you're in that frame of mind, he goes, who you can sort of prey on, right? Who you could dominate over, right? He says it's just this part of this, the shadow side of oneself. In coming out and realizing that, there was, a lot of healing and everything he had to do within his own self um, to harness that, to release that part, and to understand, even with that person, the other person who joined in with whatever actions that happened then, but with that other person joining in, is understanding that, part of them, there was that attraction that came in. So, whatever you are putting out, you are attracting what's coming in, right? So what are you putting out? And this is where, especially as we're building up to a full moon in Aquarius, looking at what are you wanting to create and bring forth within oneself, and living with your true authentic self. Because Aquarius is going to teach you, she's going to bring it to you, but she's only going to bring it to you basically once. Like it's not going to be a repetitive thing that Aquarius is going to do. So this is looking at, it's like, what am I gaining? What is the knowledge? What are the opportunities that are coming in? Because the opportunities are going to come in to help to heal or move forward in some way. But am I closing those opportunities off because of my thoughts, my worries, my lack, whatever it is, that I'm closing that off? And we can see that happening not only in the world around us, but we can see it within our own lives. So it's really sort of taking those time to really look at, where am I closing myself off to, so I can open up to new opportunities, new horizons, allowing myself to heal in whatever way, right? In whatever way that unfolds within oneself. So, and this entire Venus retrograde is giving us an opportunity to see where we are living from the truth of our hearts and where we are not. And Venus in Leo in our highest is all about radical self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, and self-confidence. What would our lives and our relationships look like if we were coming from that place, coming from that radical place that allows for us to get into that discomfort? Because that discomfort, as I said yesterday, might make you feel crazy, but boom, it's getting you to really see that part of yourself that can bring in, some beautiful extremes within your life that you never knew were there. For some of us, it's about, seeing the situations, people clearly, so that we can set boundaries and say no and come from a healthy self-love. For others, it is about us opening up our hearts and connecting from this true, authentic, open heart place rather than engaging with the ego. Many times we go with things and we do things just because, I might as well go with things just because, that's what everybody says I should be doing, or we've already got the plans in place. Let's go, right? Let's just go. But even though you might have the plans in place, doesn't mean that you should board the plane or you should walk down the aisle, because there might be something else that's coming in to let you know, saying, you know what, I need to take a step back from this. I need to look at this more thoroughly. Before I put my pen to paper, I need to look at this authentically within my own self and truly see if I'm coming from a place of just, yeah, we're scared to try something new, or yeah, no, there's something really fucked up here and I really don't feel comfortable in going forward with this, right? And this is really when you start to understand the difference within yourself and you work with that, when you start to understand those differences, then you can really live in that true authentic place. Because a lot of times people automatically think the fear that comes up is just like, oh, I can't do it, but it's just a fear of trying something new, a fear of creating something because they're afraid of failure, or they're afraid that, oh, I've already loved so many people already that it's just all going to fall apart anyways, right? Putting the assumptions before there. So it's really coming in and writing things out, looking at that energy that's coming in. Yeah, this week has been a week, as I said, of sort of speed up, slow down kind of energy. It's been a week that is bringing forth more combustional energies that we need to really look at within our own world. So on that note, I'm going to pull some cards for us as we're heading in for the weekend. Right now, it's sort of rainy and cold. That's why I got a sweater on. And that coolness of that rain. I mean, it's nice, but I don't know. I think the weather's been sort of weird this week. I think, the other thing is that's coming through. I know there's rumblings of an election in Canada right now. And I don't trust any politicians. I really don't. I don't like either side. I think they're both they're both coming from the same pod, but maybe spurring it a little bit differently. So either or, it's just like is one any better than the other? So, but I feel like there's an election coming, and our PM is scared that because he is the golden boy of the WEF, he is the one that they really love, and anybody who comes in, as I just feel like it's almost I feel like they have to be part of the WEF, or they, there's something there. If they're not, they really have to be radical in how they want to make the changes, right? Politicians are duplicates. Trudeau should be scared. Yeah, he is scared. I know, like, yeah, he is scared. Deplorable. Yeah, he's that's why the cabinet changed. That's just 1 second. I just have to put that on way too high. Oh. Yeah, it is deplorable. But this is where, because he is a Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn, so this is really going to be bringing up a lot more of a lot more is going to be coming up about this. I haven't looked at Pierre's chart. I think I'm going to look at Pierre's chart. But there's a lot, as politics, I just think I believe in self-governing. I believe that we should have the right to be able to self-govern ourselves, and not to be told, so many freedoms have been taken away. And that's the other part too, is that people have surrendered a lot of their freedoms because of security, of the so-called security. But in surrendering so much of their freedoms, they don't realize that security is a controlled type of security, that they will have no freedoms, right? It's the idea, well, I can go to work, I can come home, but then all of a sudden you can't access your bank account. You're told you're only allowed to take travel once a year. You're only allowed to travel how many, you're not allowed to leave the province more than 3 weeks or whatever it is. Next year they're coming in where I think it's 30 European countries that Canadians are going to have an entry pass. So you're going to have to, before you travel in Europe, you have to have an entry pass. That means that you have to make sure that every country that you're going to, you have that pass and that you can enter. And in that pass, they will look at what kind of person are they, what kind of social media they have, all these different criterias. I'm not sure of the whole thing, but they're going to look at that kind of shit. Is that the type of person we want entering our country as a visitor? And which is kind of crazy, because right now they're not even, with immigration and things like that, they're not even looking at the people that are coming into the countries, even into Canada. And where you're seeing, like the other day, no offense to anybody, but I love to watch people and go to the park. And of course, there's a diverse the park that we go in. It's very diverse. It's absolutely fabulous to see many different ethnic people and everybody. But as I sat there, I wasn't hearing, like, usually I hear a lot of things to do with Muslims and things like, their Arabic talk and stuff like that, which I find very cool because I'm trying to decipher it in my head. But it was all Ukrainian. It was a lot of Ukrainian being spoken and stuff. So, and I found that very interesting. So, because there's been such a high influx of Ukrainians that are coming in. And that's which is fine, but there's also a huge influx of Ukrainian men that are coming in that don't have the families. And are they being, it's like, are they being checked out, or are they just saying, oh, poor them, because of what's happening over there, which is deplorable? Yes, war, whatever, it is horrible. Both sides are wrong, both sides. I don't think anyone is better than the other one, but I think there's also where, even in the UK, where they're having an influx of Middle Eastern, especially men coming in. And that's the thing, is like, when you get an influx of this masculine type of energy coming in, and there isn't a balance there with it, can cause animosity, can cause strife. It can bring in a lot of different uprisings with that. When I think the boat people were coming into Canada, it was families that I remember, because I know I worked with my mom through the church of all the families that were coming in. And this was, where we helped a lot of families set them up. And it was the grandparents, it was the mothers, mother, father, children. And we set up, many different homes, and with everything, because they came in with nothing, right? That was a huge piece that I noticed this time, as I, noticing it's not necessarily families. Like, I love to, bring in the families, bring that wholesomeness in, that what, of those morals and values that many of us share. Great. But when you're just bringing in, like, one specific gender, especially masculine, it really causes a dynamic change within energy. And it doesn't matter where it is, but that's That's the energy. Now, it could be the other part too, because we are going into war. You're bringing an influx of men in here, and this is the other part where the deplorable government is that those men that come in will have to go to war. They will be signed up. And that's, that's where it's like, okay, we're going to take you guys and bye bye kind of thing. You mentioned visas for Canada to Europe next year. That's scary for a change. I'm watching you on a big screen looking good, lady. Love the aquamarine. Ah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is. You can Google it about the visas and stuff. It'll show you, and the different countries that you'll have to have visas to. And you got to think, because the EU is breaking up. France wants to join in with BRICS. So you got France, because he's already made trips over to China. He's already made trips over to Russia. He wants to join. He wants out of the EU. Germany's having huge problems with their own economy, and with the influx of immigrants that are coming into their country. Poland right now is having issues as well. And with Poland, I mean, right now their economy is not thriving because of the influx, because they can't handle all of the people, when it comes to their social service system. So we're seeing these changes that are coming in within countries because they can't handle the influx of this coming in. Things are still happening in France. There is still the rioting or the uprising, whatever you want to call it, that's going on in France in different areas. England is having clashes with, they're bringing in these small townships in England, where they have maybe a hotel that's there. The hotel has signed their rights over to the government, and these rights, and so the government gives contractors that they now bring in immigrants into their hotels, and these immigrants stay at the hotel. Now, in staying at the hotel, they get everything is paid for them, and they even get a stipend each week. I don't know how much it is, probably not a lot, but they get food, they get free healthcare, free dental, free prescriptions, room and board is free. And then they will be, as they're going through the process of getting status, they are also getting free education. So on if they are wanting to, trade or upgrade their trade or whatever, they're coming in, they're getting education on that for free. And that's in the UK. Canada's doing very much the similar thing. Now, some of these guys are working underneath the table. There's been evidence that is coming out that these different, like car washes, and are paying, some of these men who've come in under the table, and they're paying them cash, right? So that they can come in. Now, that's the other thing, is that with the government's trying to change the currency and take away cash, nobody could do that anymore, because the government will have full control, good or bad. It's like they will have control over exactly where your money goes and how much you spend, right? So that's part of this energy, this change, especially with Neptune or Uranus in Taurus. And I've been mentioning it since, he went in there. It's all about that change that's coming in, especially within the banking industry, and what the banking industry is. Now, if you have a lot of money in the bank, if you have, like, let's say you have $25,000 sitting in the bank. If you have $25,000 sitting in the bank, I would ask my banker, is that in that account, because not every account is insured. And this is where you have to really diversify. If you have the money to diversify in different accounts, and I'm not talking about Canadian accounts, I'm talking about diversifying not only in Canadian accounts, but making sure you diversify. It could be even in an American account in one of the banks there. It could be one, in different places. Like, you got to educate yourself to learn these types of things. And not just trusting a financial advisors, because you got to look at, a lot of the financial advisors, they don't know shit, or they don't even follow what's actually going on. I mean, that's the thing, is that educating yourself on how to invest your money properly, how to create that. Now, a lot of you guys will say, well, I don't have a lot of money, but it just starts with a little bit. I don't have a lot of money either. But this is where it's starting to say, how much money do I need on hand? Because you're going to find by the fall, I'm saying, like, this energy, as we're being pushed into, it's not that things are going to collapse yet, not till next year, but you got to be ahead of the game. And that's where this energy is. And that's where, with Venus retrograde, on being true to yourself within Leo, how am I being true to myself? And for Canadians, it's like, oh, well, I can't do that because, I don't want to screw somebody over. But in the long run, you end up screwing yourself over. And that's what you got to understand with this. So I'm just bringing something up here. See. So some of the things, here's what the era of the global boiling means for Canadians. The thing is, Ukraine moves Christmas date to the 25th of December and snub to the Russians. Now, you might not think that's a big thing, but they're Orthodox. They're not, for their belief system is on the Orthodox, not on the Roman Catholic, and that's who sets the date for Christmas. Has been the Catholics, so they're snubbing them and going with, And Justin Trudeau raised an eyebrow when he shuffled a high-profile minister. So, so these ministers that he shuffled around, he basically destroyed their career out there. So that's crazy in itself. Eligible Canadians set to receive a newly enhanced Canadian workers benefit. So that I didn't know about. Okay, so check your bank account to see if you got a Canadian workers benefit on July 28th, which is today. Those who received the Canadian workers benefit in 2022 will automatically receive the funds as a top up to their income. No application required. So Canadian workers benefit tops up the income of 4.2 million hardworking. Oh, that's what. Okay, I did get a top up. It was like $40. Every single workers will receive up to 1,518, and eligible families will receive $2,616. I didn't receive no $1,500. I don't know. My top up was $40. Even if you look at it, it's like, first of all, where are they getting the money from this? So this is the funds will be split between 3 advance payments in July 23rd, October 23rd, and January 2024, and the final payment following the filing of the workers' taxes. So, for example, if yearly income $25,000, received $1,200 for the workers' Canadian benefit in 2022. I don't think I received anything last year. I didn't even know what the hell this was. So this explains more of what the hell went into my account. But on the flip side of all of this is where my, he's been waiting to receive information about why his OAS has been cut by $300. So that's because Steve's no longer working and he's just on Canadian pension. And this is where the Canadian government cut his OAS by $300. Yeah. So that was a little bit of a shock for us. And so this is, it's like, that's the other thing I don't understand. But with Pluto and Capricorn, it's just bringing in some weird, crazy shit. Anyways, readings are on sale. So take a look at the readings right now. And if you are wanting to get a reading, let me know. We'll get you booked in. So the first card, Ace of Ariel. So the Ace of Pentacles, because Ariel is the angel of this world. She understands how this world works. And this is about resources of money. So resources of money. So she's bringing in, there's a support, a change in a job or a change in promotion, a change in how you're bringing money in. So is there a side hustle that you are wanting to bring in? And I've been looking at side hustles, of different side hustles on how to bring in money. That But it's learning how to do some of these side hustles. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you want to sell Avon or if you want to start writing a book or what have you. You got to look at it. Hey, Mateus, saying hi. So this is where, um, looking at these different side hustles and how you can create, an income. And there's many of them out there, and you just have to look at what aligns for you for doing these different things, right? So, and then we have the page of Raphael. So the page of waters comes in. This is where, it's emotional. Page is like new emotion. He's like the teenager, right? So if you think of a page, what a page was, the page was the person who brought the information to the king. He was he was in training to be a knight. So he was usually anywhere. They started their training sometimes at the age of 9. So 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to about 15, right? When they could start entering the knighthood, and the knighthood to go off, at the age of 16. So this is where, coming in with new insights, inspiration that's coming in. And this inspiration could be something to do with, creating something, a newness. So both of these have something to do with some new insight. And that comes in with, as Mercury comes off of a Venus and is going into Virgo. So this is going to say, how can I implement this and make this happen? Now you got to remember, Virgos are not, they are mutable. Okay. A lot of times people don't really think that Virgos are stuck, but no, they're mutable. That's why they change things around, or, change the order of something. They love to change shit around. It's like, oh, I'm getting tired of this, so let me change this whole thing around, and that's where you got to allow for that change and that ebb and flow to happen. And Mars is there to help to give you that inner strength, give you that drive, that masculine energy. That's what he does. As with, what are you wanting to do? How are you wanting to bring that forth? And with that comes the emperor. The emperor wants to make his empress feel good. The emperor is the one who wants to make sure everything is stable, everything is good. The emperor is self-proclaimed. He is not a king. He wasn't born into it. An emperor is one that is, is appointed, either appointed by the people or he appoints himself. Hey, Napoleon. So this is taking charge of a situation. You might have ambitious plans, things that are coming in, but you're going to start taking charge of it so that you can implement that and make it happen. And the energies are there. What are you going to implement? What are you going to do to create this, right? How are you going to take charge of the situation and be that beautiful, loving, caring person, be in that power and still be able to be within the parameters of your boundaries, which is very important, because in being in line with your boundaries. So you got to start looking at the situations in your life. What is happening within your world? And looking at the different scenarios, whether it has to do with health, whether it has to do with relationships, whether it has to do with money. Those are the three things, especially with Venus retrograde and the sun being in Leo. These are the things you look at. And how can I create fun and enjoyment with this? Right? You can have your own business, and it could be a business that you're working your ass off, because that's where a lot of people get it wrong. It's like, well, I just want it, I just want it to be easy peasy. But the thing is that if you're creating something, there is sometimes some blood, sweat, and tears that go into it because you love it. You want to create it. If you are making a garden isn't like just throwing the seeds out and hopefully everything grows. It's making sure that you're watering it, you're fertilizing it, you're making sure that garden is going to grow. You're going to weed it. You're going to, maybe learn about permaculture, learn about new ways of creating a greenhouse or whatever it is. It takes integrity. It takes that spark, that inspiration. So it's like knowing this, when the emperor comes in, that you are taking charge of the situation, because ambitious plans are there. And with that, ooh, 5 of Gabriel's just sitting here. So there's going to be challenges of things that you are going to have to overcome with that. That's the 5 of Wands. So, what are the challenges that you are going to have to overcome with all of this inspiration that's coming in? Because newness is coming in. It's wonderful. New resources, new ideas being sparked. You're going to have them. You can feel them. The spark is there. That emotion, that passion is coming in. The intuition is showing you. The emperor is coming in and he's saying, hey, we got to create this. We got to look at what's going to work. And in comes Gabriel. Gabriel saying, you know what? Yeah, you got that passion. You want to bring in that stability, but you got to have patience with yourself. You got to have love for yourself to make sure that you're putting things in proper order and not bypassing something, both in the muggle world, the mundane world, but also with your own spiritual self, and not spiritual bypassing and saying, oh, that's just what's supposed to happen. No, it happened. Why did it happen? How can I heal that? How can I release that? Instead of just shoveling it underneath the carpet, right? We don't want to shovel anything underneath the carpet this week or going into the weekend, because it's going to explode in your face in some way, especially with Neptune in Pisces coming into the, he's at the very, end of Pisces. He's not leaving Pisces as yet, but he's retrograding back. This is going to bring in some intensity there. And with Saturn there, yeah, there's a lot of intensity that's going to come in there when you got to look at your own integrity for your own spiritual self and putting up, because here's this planet Saturn, he's bouncing around. He hates to bounce. He wants to create some kind of order. He wants to create something that brings in those boundaries. He's got the rings around him. He wants to bring in those boundaries, and he's in there with the ruler Neptune, and then he's pointing at Venus, right? Because Venus has been hovering there for like 11 days at 28 degrees. So that's a very critical point. So what are we having to look at within our own selves to create this? And are we listening to the information? Are we listening to the dreams? Are we listening to what's coming forward? Because the messages are there. It could be something, an ad on TV. It could be something coming over the radio. It could be in your news feed or whatever you're watching. Information is going to come. Are you following it up? Or are you going to say, nah, yeah, that's just bullshit? But have you followed up to find out if it's bullshit? If it is bullshit, it's bullshit. If it's not bullshit, there could be something really lucrative there for you. But you got to look into it. So another crazy weekend. Just saying, as we're building up to a full moon in Aquarius, that's going to activate a lot of craziness. Just saying, with Aquarius, because it's going to be just the moon in Aquarius. That's it. Nothing else is in Aquarius right now. She's just open and free, right? Open and free. And here comes the moon that's going to illuminate with the sun in Leo. So we got some real big buildups coming in here. And Aquarius is Aquarius is the 11th house. So it's the 11th house that you have to look at. Find out where Aquarius is in your chart. Take a look at your chart, see where it is. If not, book an appointment, and let's take a look and see where Aquarius is in your chart, right? And what that means for you. So there you go. Have a fabulous Friday, everybody. Yeah, it might be raining, but maybe get out there, do something, go for a walk. Maybe go visit something that you didn't think you could go visit. I don't know. Just let's do something. All right. Have a blessed one, everybody. And may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. And we will catch you tomorrow.